Welcome everyone to Calder Park Raceway in Melbourne for the 34th running of the Australian Drag Racing Championships, better known as the Bob Jane T-Mart Nationals. We have got a fantastic event coming up for you, highlighted of course by the $100,000 cash bonus offered to the first top fuel racer who can break the 300-mile-per-hour barrier. This Nationals is a place where racers come, dreams are realised and of course hearts are broken. Rochelle Splatt's also having her last ever run at the Nationals. This was the event that she made her name in 1993. We've got a great show coming up, so hang around. We're going to get straight into the action of Pro Stock Motorcycle qualifying, and the defending Nationals champion, Jason Lee, first on the line, and he's about to run alongside South Australian Sam Scarey.
Well, Scarey in the video lane, and of course Jason Lee in the Synchrone Proto lane as they leave the line. This, of course, is the first qualifying session. Head on down the track. Scarey's out in front, Gerald.
And should go through, Scarey records a 7.88, 171 mile an hour. Jason Lee, 8.05 at 163. Now this, as you say, is qualifying, and what it's all about is trying to get the bike positioned best in the 8 motorcycle field for eliminations come tomorrow. Qualifying is important. First, you've got to make the field, and we've got Brian Lennon and Chris Gadisi. Gadisi on the yellow motorcycle there, got a little bit out close to the line, as did Brian Lennon, and the times come up on the board. 8.14 for Gadisi, 8.28 for Brian Lennon.
Well, next pairing, Angelo Ganitas in the video lane, taking on Paul Andrews. Paul Andrews aboard the Motorsport Trailers bike. He sits in the Synchrone Proto lane. This, of course, first qualifying session once again for the 2000 Nationals as they leave the line. And Andrews got off the line first. Ganitas looks like he's got his nose out in front, though. We'll see how he qualifies as they go down through the Palomine. And Ganitas stops the clocks with a 7.96, 164 miles per hour. Paul Andrews, a troubled run. We didn't get any times that time, Gerald.
Yeah, no timing on the screen that time. He'll come back out for another run later in the event.
Well, next pairing leave the line. We have Neville Langley taking on Colin Linney. Colin Linney has some dramas. The bike shuts off early. And Langley takes it through with a 7.98 at 170 miles per hour. And Lenny, a troubled run for his first qualifier.
Good run for Langley. That puts him well and truly into the 8-bike field. More than 8 motorcycles have turned up for the top fuel bike bracket, and there is the defending champion, Jeff Smith, aboard his Nitro Harley.
Of course, top fuel motorcycle proudly brought to us by Jack Daniels. Jack lives here.
And Smith running alongside Graham Morrell, an 8.06 at 174 mile per hour run there for Jeff Smith aboard the Creative Spraying Harley. Morrell an 8.48. That probably won't stand up to be in the field come race day. Jack Daniels Racing, that is Brett Stevens, closest to camera on your screen. Alongside him is Craig Bonwick. Now, Bonwick's bike is into the top bike field for this weekend. Smoking tyre there for Brett Stevens. He really got after that Harley Davidson off the line. A great run. What about this 8.03 at 174? Considering how that smoked the tyre, that's a terrific run.
Well, a very unusual bike up next. Jay Upton aboard, well, it's a very aerodynamic bike.
A triumph it is for Jay Upton. And, the aerodynamics take the bike over onto the grass. A lucky ride that time for Jay Upton. There's the Penrite motorcycle of Steve Little. Little runs at 8.57. Let's look at the replay. And Upton's bike started to bounce a bit. It moved to the left, out onto the grass. Thankfully, the former Nationals runner-up has kept control of that motorcycle and saved it from disaster.
Well, that was it for first qualifying session for top fuel motorcycle. Now it is first qualifying session for Pro Stock, as we see Bruno Cognetto taking on Jerry Parenti.
Now, Pro Stock, for the uninitiated at home, is like the V8 touring cars of drag racing. These are the stock-bodied V8, small block V8 sedans. They run heads up, and Cognetto with the VPW mail order car, a little bit out of shape. Jerry Parenti heading on down the racetrack, 7.95 at 172 mile an hour. 11 cars have turned up this weekend, Craig, for Pro Stock. Only 8 get to race, and Cognetto would want to improve on that run.
Yeah, certainly would. As we see the next pairing, Joe Polito in the Ford Probe, and he's taking on Nick Moutsos in the Chevy Cavalier.
Now, this class very much at the moment is an American-bodied class. A Ford Probe on the right-hand of screen was available in Australia. The Chev Cavalier wasn't. In a couple of years' time, they're reverting back to Australian bodies. Here's Joe Polito heading down track. The truck-mate car, 792 at 172. Polito going for 4 Nationals wins in a row here this weekend at Calder Park Raceway. Nick Moutsos, 807 at 171. That one's going to be tough to stand up.
Well, John Andropoulos up next in the Auto Concept car. Beautiful looking car. He's in the Synchrome Proto lane. He's taking on Peter Ridgway, the first man into the 7s in Pro Stock. As the lights come down, very even leave, but Andropoulos with problems, Gerald.
Not so for Ridgway. The former Nationals winner goes through an 801, 172 mile an hour. That will have him in the field for the moment. And we're going off to a break. We're going to be back right after this.
The world's fastest machines. The world's scariest shootouts. The most extreme and unusual crimes ever captured on video. The series return. World's Wildest Police Videos, 7:30 Monday.
Petters, straight advice, specialists you understand, and no bull.
Hey! After 50 years engineering products to help Aussie cars ride, handle, perform and tow better, you can trust Petters to establish what you really need. It's made us #1 in shock absorber, steering and suspension. So insist on the Red Bull. It ensures it's better at Petters.
And don't forget, no bull.
Oh, Ralph!
It's the heartbeat of a nation with true Aussie stars. It's a celebration of our V8 supercars. It's pedal to the metal, it's foot to the floor. This is Aussie sport like you've never seen before. So come on Australia, answer the call. Listen to the thunder, come and feel the roar. Come on Australia, answer the call. The V8 supercar's gonna settle the score. It's a celebration of the heartbeat of this nation. It's the heartbeat of a nation. Said it's a celebration of the heartbeat of this nation. It's the heartbeat of a nation.
At Kmart, we know that with everything kids get up to, their clothes have to be made to last. We're so confident in our children's wear, we give you the guarantee that if they outwear it, before they outgrow it, we'll replace it. We call it the Kmart Kid Durable Guarantee. If you've got kids, you'll know that's just what you need.
Treat them with love, care and respect, and they'll never play up on you. On the other hand, there's women. Ooh, yeah.
Welcome back to Calder Park Raceway. We're doing it all again with the top door slammers. Craig, the supercharged sedans. There's nothing quite like these. You talk about V8 supercars around Australia and expanding. What about these super duper cars? No doubt about that.
Yeah, well, the crowds certainly do love them, Gerald. You can see them up on the hill. Most of them are standing up, waiting for these guys, as we see Dave Coop in the VDO lane taking on Louis Rochella from South. Both these guys from South Australia. This, of course, is the first qualifying session. Dave Coop, the 55 Chevy, beautiful looking car. He's out in front, runs it through with a 660 at 220 miles per hour. Lou Rochella, as we have a look at the times, a 690 at 208 miles per hour.
Good run for both those drivers. We should mention that Dave Coop is currently the points leader in the Australian Championship. Talk about leaders. It is Andrew Searle, defending Nationals champion over there in the Acme Racing Custom line, taking on Marcus Chambers here in qualifying for Top Door Slammer.
Well, revs come up on both cars, both into full stages. Searle gets off, a little bit of tyre shake off the line. Marcus Chambers, the gas attack HQ Holden, he's struggling as well, but Searle gets there with a time of 7:38 at 150 miles per hour. Certainly not indicative of what that car can do. Marcus Chambers is 7:12 at 201 miles per hour.
Both a little bit off the pace. Two door slammers, two Studebakers coming up right here. Peter Kapiris, the Kapiris brothers Pennzoil car. Right alongside him, the first Studebaker door slammer ever built. That's Robin Judd from Western Australia in the white car, the video lane. Evenly for these guys. They've been putting on a hell of a show around Australia. They go through, and a 6:41 at 219 mile an hour for Peter Kapiris, 6:43 at 218 for Robin Judd. Great run.
Yeah, certainly is. That puts Peter Kapiris straight up into top qualifier. And Peter Gratz and Colin Will, the next pairing. Colin Will leaves the line beautifully, but here comes Gratzy as he goes straight through with a 6:55, 221 miles per hour. Colin Will a 6:78 at 209 miles per hour.
Will's best ever run. That's why the crew were very happy running off into the distance there. The South Australian is in the field. Here's Les Winter from Queensland. This beautiful 55 Chevy about to run alongside Dave Simpson, the EF Falcon from Western Australia. These two guys hoping to qualify. There are 15 door slammers here for qualifying. Only 8 get to race, the 8 quickest.
And, of course, this is the Nationals. We see cars from all around the country. Dave Simpson gets there first.
No time recorded. Well, that's a tough one. Les Winter, a 7:22. Dave Simpson, he's going to come back and have another run. No doubt about that. Problems with the timing system. The quickest and fastest top alcohol door slammer in Australia is Victor Bray. He leaves the line. The Castrol car smokes the tyres a little bit, goes through. Number 1 qualifier, 6:39, 2:28. Marie Bray, very happy with that indeed. Murray Anderson, the whole crew, what a great run.
It certainly was a great run for the Castrol 57 Chevy, and as we have a look at qualifying so far, we're going to have a look at a replay as well. As he leaves the line, a little bit of tyre slip. Now Victor Bray's top qualifier with a 6:39, Kapiris in second, and Robin Judd in third.
Melbourne race car builder Murray Anderson is one of drag racing's great success stories. Beginning by working out of his mother's backyard shed 27 years ago, Anderson has progressed to the point where his world-recognised Anderson Race Car shop, located in the Melbourne suburb of Bayswater, has become synonymous with the burgeoning top door slammer class. While Anderson's face isn't instantly recognisable to drag racing fans, his on-track products are, through his most famous customer, Victor Bray. In fact, he's loosely known around circles as the King.
I don't know about being the king. There's a lot of other good guys out there too. Maybe I've just been lucky to team up with Victor, and from Victor, all of the other people around him, all of the guys that came before Victor, that he saw the cars, and one thing, it just snowballed from there. But I think it's really the good people that I've had to build cars for.
When the arduous task of building a new car is given to him, Anderson looks at the 3-month project like an artist looking at his next canvas.
To start a new car, it's just, I imagine, like an artist, a blank piece of paper, and whatever's in your mind, you do. I'm sure you've got some guidelines to go with, and the body style, and I like to set the car out and see how it's going to look, and get a feel from the customer and everybody else's opinion.
It's ironic, though, that despite Anderson having the utmost confidence in his products, he's yet to have travelled down the quarter mile in anger. Anderson preferring to keep his feet firmly planted on the ground.
That's not for me. I like building them, but I don't like speed. How's that?
Well, a man that does like speed, and that, of course, is current champion in top alcohol, Gary Phillips. Now, he has built a top door slammer, and he's going to drive it as well, Gerald.
He debuted in Adelaide last weekend, but here at the Nationals, the Bob J. T-Mart Nationals, he's concentrating on top alcohol, running alongside Wayne Newby. Good run for both these guys. Fantastic run. Gary Phillips, 5:75, 244 mile an hour. That's a record run. And Wayne Newby, 5:79 at 243.
Well, Wayne Jones up next, and he'll be taking on Frank Intini from South Australia. And again, this is the 2000 Nationals. We get cars from all around the country.
Jones hasn't been seen on the track for quite some time. Gets that car out of shape. Oh, boy. Frank Intini had his own problems with engine smoke coming out, but Wayne Jones, that car was all over the racetrack, and Bill Jones there probably shaking his head a little bit. Thankfully, Wayne has escaped from that one. That was a major drive. Let's have a look at a replay now. And the car smoked the tyres on the launch. It went left, it went right. Oh, I tell you what, that back right-hand wheel, Craig, it got up off the ground. And let's have a look at another angle.
Well, as we see, Wayne Jones leaves the line. A little bit of tyre smoke. The car gets close to the centre line, then goes right out towards the grass. That was a scary ride.
He had his hands full, no doubt about that one. Wayne Jones will be going back to the pit area, scratching his head and trying to come up with something different. There's Matthew Featon, upset the number 1 qualifier at last year's Nationals in the first round. Steve Harker running alongside Mark Brew, and Brew has been on a roll around Australia. Goes through a good run, 588, 240 mile an hour, a 6.3 for Matthew Featon at 195. Mark Brew, he's going to be hot to trot this weekend here at the Bob Jane T-Mart Nationals.
Well, the next pairing up is, of course, a pair of funny cars. Not only dragsters, but we have funny cars in Top Alcohol. We see Steve Reed in the Sid Chrome Proto lane, and the first time to race in Top Door Slammer, Rob Ambrosi.
And Reed, a 3-time Nationals winner in alcohol, won in 91, 93 and 94. The first one, of course, was at Willowbank Raceway on the left of screen in the Sid Chrome Proto lane. He gets out. That Olds Cutlass funny car on a good charge down the track. 6.09 at 2.35. Ambrosi a 6.55.
Well, we might just take a break and we'll be back for the Bob Jane T-Mart's Nationals right after this.
She's an angel of mercy, accused of murder.
He dies of a lethal injection. She's got access to drugs. She's got the know-how.
And the more they dig, the more guilty she looks.
I don't have any alibi for the time that Sean was killed.
Above the Law, 9:30 Tuesday on 10.
Somebody fix those things.
Only the car's running hot because Brad uses new Speed Stick antiperspirant to keep him cool. Look, unlike sticky roll-ons, new Speed Stick goes on dry to keep you dry. All day, Brad works hard on and off the set, and new Speed Stick keeps him dry. Speed Stick goes on dry to keep you dry. By Menin.
One of the great pastimes of surfing is checking out the waves. Not a bad wave, that one. Hey, Tom? Jim seems to like the right-handers. And Bill spotted a good one. And Dave reckons that wave's perfect. Some guys will do anything for a wave.
New car.
Oh, I wish, like riding the wind.
It'll be hot here if you're driving.
It's a 12-cylinder.
That's about 4 more than you need.
It's more sophisticated.
Both these engines share their most sophisticated component.
Yeah, right.
Shell Helix Ultra, Baz. The only engine oil that Ferrari use and recommend. Shall we?
Absolutely.
Welcome back to Cole Park Raceway. Big crowd building up here for the Bob Jane T-Mart Nationals. Of course, the big one, $100,000 up for grabs and top fuel. Let's have a talk to the drivers and see what they've got their eyes on.
I got a confession to make. I couldn't give a damn about 300 mile an hour. And that might sound funny. We'd love to do it, but we've found in our experience over the years, when you go out there trying to do something, you don't seem to be able to get there. You seem to bust parts and...
It would be nice to run 300, of course, to win the money. That's not my number one priority. My priority is to win the event.
I think it's anyone's race here today. The track's hot. The temperature is pretty warm, and I think we've got as good a chance as anyone.
The nitro cars are unpredictable. You don't know what's going to happen until the first round.
It's just picking the right tune-up on the right day. I mean, obviously, the air is about 4,500 feet at the moment, which is not good air. But in America, they've run 4.6s at 307 at 4,500 feet.
No doubt the big thing this weekend is the eye on the win at the Nationals, the Bob J. T-Mart Nationals. Just means that much. Here's Terry Sainty, a guy who has been to the final round before, this weekend driving Gary McGrath's Top Fuel dragster. Craig Russell, Sainty on a nice little quick squirt down the quarter mile to familiarise himself in McGrath's car.
He shuts it off with a nice, easy 6.14 at only 169 miles per hour.
The crew quite happy with that. Next pairing up, here he is, Darren DeFilippo, one of the favourites this weekend. The Redback Performance Exhaust Sit Chrome Proto Top Fuel dragster. Alongside him, the Santo Cranes High-Tech Oils car. And that's Pommy Steve Reed, a three-time Nationals winner. DeFilippo, of course, went to the final last year.
As they leave the line, Darren DeFilippo looks to be on a good pass. Problem for Steve Reed. The thing was dropping cylinders as he left the lines. Darren DeFilippo goes through strong 5.15 at 281 miles per hour.
Strong run considering the conditions. It is 40-odd degrees here at Calder Park. On the racetrack at 65. That's a great run for DeFilippo.
Well, next pairing up, Romeo Capitanio, man that used to be behind the wheel of funny cars, and as did this guy, Robin Kirby, many years ago. He's been driving Top Fuel for 10 years now.
And Capitanio, two-time Nationals winner in Top Fuel. Both the guys smoked the tyres. They're out of it. They'll coast on through. Kirby a 6.24 at only 144 mile an hour. And a 7.39 at 117 for Rapid Romeo. Three-time Nationals winner in all and twice at the wheel of a Top Fueler. There is Rochelle Splatt last weekend here at Calder Park Raceway in a Top Fuel dragster. This is her final Nationals with the Valvoline Cummins team. Right alongside her is Roy Smith. Now, Roy Smith driving a Sainty-powered Top Fuel dragster, the engine made by Terry Sainty, who we saw just moments ago.
Now, of course, Sainty's the car that of Gary McGrath wasn't Sainty-powered, it was Hemi-powered, but here we go with Rochelle Splatt as she goes through 5.52 at 262 miles per hour. Roy Smith a 6.15 at 235 miles per hour.
Very difficult conditions, and I'm sure that Peter Wildman will be happy with Rochelle Splatt's run. Mick Outherwood, he'll go back and tune up Roy Smith for the next round of qualifying. There's Jim Reed, the most successful drag racer in Australian history, at the wheel of the Gregory's Performance Publications. Top Fuel dragster leaves the line, has some problems, and he will just coast it through the finish line. There he goes, 8.16 at just 95 mile an hour. And James Arthur, he'll be back, no doubt, with the Gregory's team.
Well, that was the first qualifying session. We see Darren DeFilippo sitting on top spot with a 5.15. Rochelle Splatt in second with a 5.52. Well, here we go with some jets, Gerald.
Well, just when you thought it couldn't get any hotter, it just happens to here at the Bob J. T-Mart Nationals at Calder Park Raceway. Chuck Haynes and Leland Blee with these fire-burning, smoking, thrusting jet cars.
Oh yeah, and as you can see on the mound behind, well, there is still plenty of people here at Calder Park, but certainly not behind the jets. That's a place where you don't want to sit.
They've all moved from behind these cars because the saying goes, one flash and you are ash here at Calder Park Raceway. And great to have Chuck and Leland from the United States. They're from Montana, Billings in Montana, and they've come out for their fourth tour down under. This is their last show here at Calder Park Raceway before heading home. What a great way to go out. 65 degrees on the racetrack. It was probably 6,500 degrees behind those cars. Here we go. These cars are driven by thrust down the racetrack. Leland Blee got the whole shot that time by Chuck Haynes. Watch these cars go. Fantastic. Down the quarter mile. Chuck Haynes got there first. That's a good 5-second run. That thing got a little bit out of shape down there in the bottom end.
It certainly did. He bounced around a fair bit. These things are, of course, whoosh power, all wind powered.
Like you, Craig, actually. Let's go to the replay. And Chuck Haynes, a big hole shot there. The big thing to watch here is they get pushed down the racetrack. Let's look at the yellow car in the video lane. Look at that tailpipe. Just fantastic there. Another angle. Boy, these are just fantastic. A lot of thrust coming out the back. Watch the right-hand lane. Look at that car start to try and take off. Tullamarine about 5 minutes down the road, Chuck.
I don't think he knows that. Well, we're about to go through into the second qualifying session for Pro Stock Bike as we see Angelo Ganitas sitting on the line. The computer's turned on. He's about to bring the bike up into stage. Now, you've ridden one of these, Gerald. You told us last time what you do. You bring the revs up, drop the clutch, and hang on for your life as Angelo Ganitas gets to the bottom end, records a time of 7:88 at 166 miles per hour.
Not many people ride a Pro Stock motorcycle better than Angelo Ganitas, the 98 Nationals winner. Here's Brian Leonard. Great to see him back on track. He had an accident a couple of years ago here at Calder Park Raceway. Broke a leg and a few other bits and pieces. Terrific rider, and he's hitting Pro Stock motorcycle with a vengeance this weekend. Just waiting for that visor to go down. The burnout procedure, very important. Making sure that that back tyre is nice and hot, nice and sticky. Everything's hot here this weekend, but making sure it is nice and sticky and will stick to the racetrack when he lets the clutch out, having had the bike on about 10,000 revs with the clutch in.
Well, Brian Leonard, a 30-year-old mechanic up from Kilsyth Way in Victoria, leaves the line. The bike skids a little bit out of shape. We'll see how he goes this time out as he goes through the traps. 8.6 at 158 miles per hour, so still a little bit behind the 8-ball, Gerald.
Yeah, they really need to step up into the 7-second range. Let's have a look. There's Morris Allen, great rider and former Nationals winner. Right alongside him is a Nationals winner as well, Paul Andrews. Paul has won competition motorcycle, that class. Morris won the Nationals back in 1991. Allen actually leaves before the tree is set, so he won't get a time this time. Andrews on the right of screen, the top of screen, goes through. Good run, 7.95 at 166. Paul Andrews happy about that, so are we. We're going to a break. We'll be back after this.
It was worth the wait. Now Apu's father, 2 eggs.
Did anyone else slip this woman fertility drugs? Mine tasted like strawberry.
Life's a bitter pill.
How delicious.
On the all-new Simpsons, 7:30 tonight on 10.
Treat them with love, care and respect, and they'll never play up on you. On the other hand, there's women. Oh, yeah.
JB Hi-Fi special price on Car City tuners with Pioneer 120-watt speakers down to a crazy $199. Sonny and Phillips Car City tuners just $248. Pioneer car stereos an insane $128. 180-watt speakers $49. JB, you've done it again.
Shut up! The bridge has collapsed. Beer truck can't get through.
You're bloody joking. Where you going, mate? Hang on, lads. Won't be long.
Ford Courier Turbo Diesel. The most powerful turbo diesel in its class. Ford Trucks.
Here's a couple who are about to break out with some serious renovations.
Hey!
And here's the Mitre 10 specialist,
Solid hardwood frame.
who'll help you get the job done right.
Let's start with Accent. It's good value, it's our own brand.
From the store that understands it's not just the low price, it's getting the right advice that really saves you money.
Wow. What do you think?
That's great.
Well, welcome back to the Bob Jane T-Mart's 2000 Nationals. We're going to go qualifying session number 2 with Top Fuel Motorcycle.
Now, this is qualifying, as we said earlier in the show. It's all about making sure you get into the 8-bike or 8-car field for whatever bracket you're contesting. Then comes actual racing. So these guys are trying to set up the bikes as best they can. Jeff Smith on the top of screen. Graham Morrell has problems. Smith on a run on his Nitro Harley. This thing is a thumper. Two-time Australian champion, 7:39. What a great run. Number 1 qualifier, 196 mile an hour, straight to number 1.
Well, Craig Bonwick up next, the 95 Spring Nationals winner. He sits in the Synchrone Proto lane. Solo pass for him. Well, let's see how he goes this time out as he launches the bike off the line. Looks as though he's got some problems at half-track. The bike's certainly not. He's looking down and has some dramas.
A couple of bits of flame appear to come out of the pipes there, Craig. He might be in trouble. That's what qualifying's all about, though. These guys get 3 sessions to have an attack of the track. And if it doesn't work, well, you don't get the race. Here is Jay Upton, that fantastic Spritex Triumph top-fueled bike. And alongside him is Steve Little on the Penrite motorcycle. Also a Nitro Harley like Jeff Smith that we saw just earlier. Both trying to crack it into the 8th bike field. Upton leaves the line a lot better that time. Appears to have a top-end charge. He's off it now. Little runs it through the bottom end. A good run, 7.87 at 1.72. Upton's crew not overly happy, 8.07 at 1.45. But most definitely. What about the parachute?
First bike we've ever seen with a parachute.
Wowee, bit of history.
Well, Ian Asherfield up next aboard the Attitude bike.
Now, this guy's from Western Australia as well. Made the trip over for the Nationals. A lot of sparks coming off the feet, off the little taps on the front. Good run, number 1 qualifier, 7.37 at 1.50. The crew very happy indeed. In fact, they've jumped ahead of Jeff Smith. Great run.
Well, next guy up, Brett Stevens, of course, sponsored by Jack Daniels. And, of course, the bracket is sponsored by Jack Daniels as well. Jack lives here, as they say. Brett leaves the line up in smoke off the line. In the first qualifying session, he went 8.03. Let's see how he goes this time out. 7.40 at 173 miles per hour. That puts him in 3rd spot, Gerald.
How good is this? Fastest is Ashelford, 7.37. Smith, 7.39. And Stevens, a 7.40. Top bike is sensational. So is Pro Stock. The conditions are better now at night time. It's a bit cooler. These carburetted sedans are going to go faster now. If you're not in the field after this session, you're out of here.
Yeah, you've got some dramas. Red light comes up for Cognetto. Not sure what happened there. The car appeared to move. Bruce Leake, on the other hand, he's on his way down for his qualifying session. Let's see how he goes. 8.02 at 170 miles per hour. And still has yet to run down into the 7s at this meeting.
Yeah, well, a former Australian champion runner-up at the Nationals. I don't think he'll be happy with that. There's Jerry Parenti on screen from Adelaide. That Tim McCamus race cars built Oldsmobile Cutlass, running alongside Joe Polito. 3 Nationals wins in a row. He's going for 4 in a row this weekend. Can he create history? He already has the record at 3 in a row.
Polito went 7.92 in the first qualifying session. We'll see how he goes this time out. As the lights come down, Parenti got off the line first. This, of course, is qualifying. As here comes Polito, but looks of things, gets a top-end charge. Runs it through 7.86 at 173 miles per hour. Great run for him. Jerry Parenti with an 8.16 at a slowing 135 miles per hour.
Yeah, he had problems at the top end of the racetrack. Got off it, chute came out. It really slowed the car up. That is not going to last. There's John O'Carney in the second of Bruno Cognetto's cars. He's out of here. He's got problems. The reigning Australian champion, Craig Hasted, the Craigar Performance Ford Thunderbird, goes to the top of the field. What about this? 7.81, 171 mile an hour, number 1 qualifier.
Well, great pass for him. Next pairing up, Nick Moutsos. And he'll be taking on Tony Wedlock. Wedlock in the Synchrone Proto lane, Moutsos in the VDO lane. Both cars moving up into the staging beams.
The conditions, Craig, are just getting so much better for Pro Stock. It is still hot. The racetrack's still very warm, but the air has dropped. Wedlock in that Trans Am, the ultimate financial group car, left the line beautifully. A little bit of smoke. He's storming though the top end. He has gone 7.78, 178. Oh, Tony Wedlock, he's on a roll here. That is a fantastic run. Nick Moutsos, 7.92 as well. He is in the field. The 8-car field, you're going to have to be in the low 7.90s to get in, I think.
Well, Peter Ridgway up next in the Synchrone Proto lane, a very hard man to beat. John Andropoulos, fairly new to Pro Stock. He's been doing exceptionally well in the Auto Concept car. As the lights come down, Ridgway got off the line first. Ridgway certainly on a strong pass. He was quick first session. Let's see how he goes. 770, 178 miles per hour, straight to the top. John Andropoulos with a 793 at 174 miles per hour.
We're going to a break. We're going to be back right after this.
Time for revelation.
I am your father.
And ancient prophecies.
You must save him for the sake of us all.
The truth is not out there. It's within.
It proves what he's become, biologically alien.
A brand new X-File. 8:30 Wednesday.
Treat them with love, care and respect, and they'll never play up on you. On the other hand, there's women. Oh, yeah.
At this price, we can only hold it till 3, Mrs. Harris.
No, I'll be there, thanks.
Okay.
Go for it, Liz. Yeah, I'll drop the kids round later. You're a pal.
Yes, we can move your appointment, Mrs. Harris.
Oh, good.
Because you make a lot of them, Telstra have introduced the 15-cent neighbourhood call.
Jane, you won't believe how much I saved today.
Numbers sharing the same exchange as yours are a neighbourhood call. Find your phone number prefix in the back of the White Pages directory.
It's beautiful.
It's bigger than a sale, more colossal than a clearance. It's Toyota's first ever massive March Marathon. Toyota dealers are under instructions to move thousands of new cars, used cars, demonstrators and remaining 99 stock, and fast. You stand to make massive savings on Echos, Corollas, Prados, RAV4s and more. Plus great deals on trade-ins. Toyota's massive March Marathon. Thousands of cars massively reduced. Don't miss out. Oh, what a marathon! ACDC.
Stiff upper lip.
Shoot from the hip, back at a stiff upper lip. That new album, Stiff Upper Lip. Out now.
I worked my ass off for an hour and a half trying to talk to this girl. I wasn't getting anywhere. I said, okay, right, dirty tricks. So we told her it was a phone driver. And 1 hour later, it was all happening.
The Panel, Wednesday on 10.
Well, welcome back to Calder Park Raceway. It's all about glamour and it is all about speed. The Bob Jane T-Mart Nationals here at Calder Park Raceway. Great to have your company. Andrew Searle on left of screen. David Simpson on right. Searle, the defending Nationals champion in top door slammer. This is session number 2 out of 3.
Well, Andrew Searle got off the line beautifully on a good pass as he stops the clock. 6.54 at 213 miles per hour. Dave Simpson with a 6.53 at 220 miles per hour.
How tough is this? 6.59 was the bump spot for the 8-car field in Adelaide just a week ago. I think this is going to be even better. Those two guys hopefully will be around come race day tomorrow. Here we go, Peter Gratz, a 2-time Nationals winner, the Valvoline Dodge Daytona. Alongside him is Colin Will, the Tectaloy Thunderbird. Will hoping to get into the field. He ran his quickest ever run earlier. Grazzi's out. Will's alongside him. I tell you what, Will's going to get there first. 6.66 at 2.11. Will it stand up? A good run, a 6.78 at 2.16 for Gratz. Well, will those runs stand up? Grazzi had run a 6.50 earlier. He should be in. No guarantees, though.
No, certainly not. As you said before, 15 cars in an 8-car field, so 15 doesn't go into 8 very well. So we see Lou Rochella taking on Robin Judd from Western Australia, Rochella from South Australia. Judd has got this car running perfectly, and certainly not this time out. Blows the blower belt off it.
And it's more than blower belt that time, Craig. There's plenty of flames coming from under the bonnet and under the front of the car. Rochella goes through 6.81 at 201. A good run again, but Robin Judd, the Moonshine Bandit car, I tell you what, he might have just got stopped by the plods. Here we go. Let's go look at the replay. Left the line beautifully, this Studebaker. Look at, bang. That's a big one. That has popped the blower big time and maybe a little bit more damage. There goes Rochelle.
Next pairing up, Les Winter from Queensland. And, of course, another local boy, Marcus Chambers from here in Victoria. From Rochester, just up near Echuca. The lights come down. Winter gets off the line first. Marcus Chambers, well, he's got a tough job in front of him to try and get into the field. Les Winter, on the other hand, goes through 662 at 212 miles per hour. Makes the field, but can he hold it?
Well, that's what it's all about. Another pair of Studebakers. Here's Brett Stevens, the Jack Daniels guy. This is the same guy you saw on the Harley, alongside Peter Kapiris. Good leave by both the guys. It's not about getting there first for qualifying. It's about getting in the field. Kapiris, 6:37, number one. The Pennzoil crew go crazy. A 6:53 for Stevens. They're happy with that. The crew think that is terrific. They'll be in. But Kapiris straight to number one qualifier. Great run.
Well, this man has been knocked from the top. He was top qualifier before Peter Kapiris' run. And what a great burnout. This man loves putting on a show.
The guy who has made his name by burning rubber and not oil. There he is, Victor Bray, the Castrol 57 Chevy. He's coming out here, and I've got to tell you, he won't be happy having just seen Peter Kapiris. The girls like it. We like the girls too. Hey, girls. There you go. Let's get back to the action. Here he is, Victor Bray. Seen Kapiris run that 6:37. He ran 6:39. Revs are going to come up. 5,500 revs on the Chevy. Drops that clutch, smokes the tyres, pedals it, picks the wheels up. The Castrol Chevy's on a charge. It won't be number one qualifier, but cop this. He's run 229 mile an hour. Boy, has that thing got some power.
Well, that is the fastest so far today, 229 miles per hour for the Tomato King. As we see Alfie Sorbello. Oh, problems for Alfie on the burnout, Gerald. You can see just a bit of a bang from the blower.
Well, we talked about power with Victor Bray then, Craig, and I tell you what, this thing had some power, as I think it's just tried to shove the crankshaft through the bottom. You can see the oil on the racetrack. It has pushed the crank out, I would say. That thing just went bang. You didn't see a lot of flame, but just the lurch, the front of the blower's off. Look at that, the belt's hanging off there. What that's done is that as the crank's flexed down, it's pulled on the top of the engine. Oh, Alfie, I think he's out for the weekend, and no doubt the Alfie Smash Repairs team would be very disappointed. That beautiful VT Club Sport Commodore, the two-door coupe, I'd say he's out of here.
Well, Dave Coupe up next, the 55 Chevy from South Australia.
And here we go, leading the Australian Top Door Slammer Series at the moment. This fantastic Coupe de Ville car sits right in the groove. Another Murray Anderson race car, 6:58, 214. Will it qualify? Probably. We don't know. We can't guarantee.
He's sitting in 8th spot. He improved by 0.02 of a second.
Great qualifying session. Kapiris number one, 6:37. Bray, 6:39. Here is Top Alcohol. Session number two. We've got Wayne Newby and Dean Oakey. Newby on the far side of the screen. Look at this cargo. It's on a great run. And 575, 245 mile an hour. He has set a national speed record in Top Alcohol Dragster, and he's dancing down there in the bottom end. I don't think so. Dean Oakey, good run, 603, 229.
Robbie Ambrosi up next in the Synchrone Proto lane. Now this guy, first time in Top Alcohol. He's running up against Mark Brew. Both the cars leave the line. Ambrosi wheels up in the air as he left the line. But there goes Mark Brew, 575, 240 miles per hour. That puts him into second spot. And a great time for Rob Ambrosi, 6:34, 216 miles per hour.
We have got three alcohol dragsters equal on 5.75 seconds. Brew, Phillips and Newby. Just brilliant. There's Tommy Easton. Happy 50th, Tommy, the Synchrone Proto team. And he's running alongside Frank Intini. Intini got there first. Will he qualify? 6:35, I don't think so. 6:43 for Tommy Easton. I tell you what, Intini might sneak in the field too.
He may just get there. Problems for Easton. He's been suffering with a tyre shake for the last couple of meetings, as we see Paul Shackleton leaves the line. Nice straight pass for him. We'll see how he goes as he runs it through 5.99, 234 miles per hour. He's into the field. And you think that's thrilling. Well, you want to hear about how you can go for a ride with Victor Bray in the Castrol 57 Chevy. Here we go.
Today, we're giving away 3 rides of a lifetime with Victor Bray. Simply ring and register your details and you're automatically in the running to win one of 3 trips of terror. Experience the sheer adrenaline from the passenger seat as Victor Bray tears up the Calder Park quarter-mile track with speeds in excess of 220 miles an hour. If you live outside Victoria, don't worry, we'll fly you to Melbourne. And as a permanent memento of the experience, we'll capture it on film for you. Here's the number. Get to the phone, dial 1902 554 664. 1902 554 664.
Gotta go. Hey, Grandpa, we ought to talk more. Call me. Please, stop playing with your phone. Hey, you want to hang out with Grandpa?
Great party. Although I had no idea it was fancy dress. There's Lenny the Lion. Hi. Fantastic costume. And Susie the Hyena. However, there's no disguising the unique taste of Schweppes. Ah, perfection. Hello, dear. Care for a drink? It's me, George. Cleaner, crisper Schweppes. Just a little more bite.
Gonna do my laundry. Which way to the laundry? Laundry? Sign would help. No laundry? Yeah. I guess this is it. Where do you put the money in? Ah, the holy waters of the River Ganges. Not only washed, but spiritually cleansed.
Ow! Ow! I don't know why I let you talk me into this. Because you want to be a superb athletic specimen like me, Baz. Yeah, right. Ow! You got a friction problem. Try a little oil. You got a choice of 9 in the Shell Helix range. Helix? Yep. Let's see. With all your night clubbing, you'd need the one for high performance. Or you'd go the one for gas. Nah, you really need extra heavy duty. Because it's for rugged conditions, eh? Nah, because it's for units that are getting a bit high in the mileage, Baz.
Yeah? Is your Ericsson phone easy to use? So easy, even you, Grandpa. Where are you? Hey, you want to hang out with Grandpa?
Welcome back to Calder Park Raceway. Great to have your company wherever you're watching around Australia. This is final qualifying for Top Fuel Eliminator here at the Bob Jane T-Mart Nationals. And there is Rochelle Splatt, the Queen of Speed. The Valvoline Cummins Dragway Wheels Top Fuel drags on screen. This is her last Nationals. She's about to run alongside Darren DeFilippo, one of the favourites this weekend. Craig Russell, these two drivers are about to go head-to-head. But what it all means is where do they qualify for eliminations, the finals, which we're going to see next week on Network 10.
You certainly are. Well, in the redback car, which of course is in the Synchrome lane, that is Darren DeFilippo. He is top qualifier so far with a 5.15. Rochelle Splatt, on the other hand, she's qualified in second spot with a 5.52. First session, we saw some dramas, and the air wasn't all that good. It was sitting around about 4,500 feet, which you might as well say you might as well race up the side of a mountain, because the air is rather thin.
It was hot as well. It was so hot. The track was too hot as well, Craig. That's another thing, that the sunlight onto the racetrack can make it oily, can pull up some chemicals through the surface and makes it very difficult. There's Peter Wildman, the crew chief, says to Rochelle, go to the start line. He controls that engine. And he says, OK, Rochelle, it is A-OK. Just put it on the start line. Darren DeFilippo with support of Sid Chrome Proto and Redback Performance Exhaust. He's staged. And we're about to go heads up qualifying. As you said, DeFilippo 5.15. Michelle Splat in the 550s earlier. Beautiful leave. Splat runs it through the bottom end. 5.29. 253 mile an hour. DeFilippo a 5.38. 2.69. The replay. Both cars looked all right. They were there, but they weren't.
Yeah, you can see Rochelle shut it off early, only 253 miles per hour, so the car nosed over three-quarter track.
They're both in the groove as well, just right to the end. Rochelle's car moved a lot, but in the groove. Anyway, they're qualified. Next up, Terry Sainty. Here we go, the pit stop oil change car, and Sainty's going to go it alone. Ran that 6-second run earlier, just his familiarisation run. This time, this is a proper let's go after it qualifier.
Well, nice straight pass for Terry Sainty as he stops the clocks. 5.48, 2.48 miles per hour, which puts him in third spot so far.
And now this is the interesting part. That is the first time, or this meeting is the first time that Sainty has ever driven a car that doesn't have a Sainty engine. Roy Smith this weekend is using one of those engines.
The Pennzoil Top Fuel Dragster of Robin Kirby up next. He sits in the Sid Chrome Proto lane. Leaves the line beautifully. Plenty of flames, a lot of smoke coming out from the back, and a big fire. Obviously done some damage. You can see the sparks coming out, the blower belt coming off. Gerald, that is a fairly major blow-up.
Well, that is not what Robin Kirby would have wanted, no doubt about that. Plenty of Pennzoil oil being burnt up there. That's why the flames are there. What would have happened is probably the conrods would have come out the side of the engine. These cars are so difficult to run that it is not funny. The safety crew right on the scene. They're going to extinguish the fire as well. Robin's a little bit still in the car. The ANDRA official's looking on a bit concerned there. He's moving around, no doubt. Would have suffered a fair amount of concussion from that engine going bang.
And of course, one thing with the fires with these top fuel dragsters, Gerald, is you get a lot of smoke and a lot of heat in the cockpit as well. Although you're in front of it, a lot of it is being sucked out and pushed into the cockpit.
Now, very interesting that you say that, Craig, because as we watch the replay here, and just look, this engine looks okay. That gives a puff there, and here we go, bang, there you go. The conrod's coming out the side, but Robin Kirby was sitting in the car with his head slumped a little bit. There goes the blower belt, still plenty of flames. It's a lot of oil being burnt. You watch this fire, it sort of erupts and gets a little bit bigger, and maybe, as you said, that oxygen has been drawn out of the cockpit. And now he's that's okay. Robin's starting to get out of the car now, but can be a scary point actually. That around there, he's out of the car now, and the crew is on the scene as well. So they'll take that car back to the pits. Robin will have probably a great night of sleep before the finals come around, and crew's got a lot of work to do.
I think they've got a lot of work to do. I don't think Robin will be sleeping too much tonight. I'd say they'll put the spare engine in.
Let's look at the replay again from the start line. The Pennzoil Top Fuel Dragster left the line quite nicely. Plenty of sparks coming out. Be aware that that's coming out of the clutch. So that is not too bad. Just watch the back tyres there. They have a little bit of a puff there, Craig. Maybe starting to smoke the tyres. Maybe the revs came up a bit. And here it goes.
And a big explosion for the Pennzoil Top Fuel Dragster. Robin Kirby, he did go through with a 587 at only 177 miles per hour. And the team certainly do have a lot of work to do. They're going to have to replace this engine. Of course, when it does kick out rods, Gerald, they normally come out in a spot where it can't be fixed.
Yeah, the other part too, Craig, is that there's a lot of computer cables, a lot of throttle cables and things like that. The clutch system on the car that gets burnt as well, and the crew have to go and replace those.
So it's going to be a very late night for the Pennzoil team. And Robin Kirby is out of the car, which is great news. He is A-OK. We might go down into the braking area where Robin is and have a quick chat with him.
Robin Kirby, they call this a night of fire, but it's not the fire at night that you really want to have.
No. Sort of felt good off the line, but then probably about half track, 2/3 track, it started to nose over a bit, and I probably stayed in it a little longer than I probably should have, and that's what you get.
That certainly is what you get. These cars are so unpredictable. We've got Pommy Steve Reed and Santo Rapasadas. Santo's Crane-sponsored Top Fuel Dragster up next. He sits in the VDO lane.
And this will be a solo run, Craig. All the cars running down just the one lane in the racetrack. Don't forget, wherever you're watching on Network 10 around Australia, check your local guides next week. The Nationals 2000 finals will be on, so check your local guides for time. Steve Reed, good run, 5:23 at 2:72. There's Glenn Micras, the American crew chief for the team this weekend, a two-time Nationals winner. He's saying, hey, at least we're starting to get somewhere. We're a little bit lost for a while. Pommy, Steve Reed, 5:23.
Which, of course, was good enough to put him into second spot. Jim Reed, he's off and running. Let's see how he goes. Fair bit of smoke at three-quarter track. He stops the clocks at 5:27 at only 266 miles per hour. So as we can see, Gerald, round about three-quarter track, the engine started to go away.
No doubt, Craig, Jim Reed and the whole Gregory's Automotive Publications team will get one of those how to do it manuals on the nitro-burning Hemis and look up a tune-up or what to do for eliminations. And just see Jim Reed's car was around about there. It just started to go away. Still a 5:27 at 266. That puts them into contention for the Bob Jane T-Mart Nationals here at Calder Park Raceway. And what better person to have in contention than the winningest man in Nationals history, Jim Reed.
Well, don't forget, of course, next Sunday here on Channel 10 between 1 and 2, we're going to see all the finals actions from the Bob Jane T-Mart's 2000 Nationals.
And we'll see who is crowned the Nationals champion. All the gold is up for grabs. We hope you've enjoyed yourself here on Network 10 today. We look forward to your company next week.
Breaking news today in
Welcome everyone to Calder Park Raceway in Melbourne for the 34th Annual Australian Drag Racing Championships, better known as the Bob Jane T-Mart Nationals. Well, last week we showed you the highlights of qualifying in all of the leading categories. On today's show, it's elimination rounds. There are no second chances. In Top Fuel Eliminator, Darren DeFilippo top qualified, and earlier today we spoke with him about his chances in racing tonight.
It's going to be a tough deal, you know. There's no oxygen in the air and it's hard to run these cars. So to get a number one qualifier, we're pretty happy, especially with a good field.
It is a good field and well done to Darren DeFilippo. Big crowd building up here at Calder Park Raceway for the 34th Nationals. Let's go and have a look at the qualifying. DeFilippo on top with that 5.15. Steve Reed next. Jim Reed right behind him. Rochelle Splatt, Sainty, Kirby, Roy Smith and Romeo Capitanio, the defending champion, round out the field. Craig Russell, Romeo Capitanio on screen, about to take on our number one qualifier, Darren DeFilippo.
Well, this, of course, is the first pairing for the 2000 Nationals in Top Fuel. And as you said, Romeo Capitanio, the industrial thermocoupler supply car in the Synchrome Proto lane. He'll be taking on Darren DeFilippo in the Redback-sponsored Top Fueler in the Video lane.
Interesting match-up here, a replay of last year's final round. Capitanio getting the decision that time as the two cars come up the stage. DeFilippo got the jump, up in smoke, flames out of the back of the Redback exhaust car, but Darren DeFilippo takes the win that time. A good win, a 560 at 247, although that team are going to have a lot of work to do between rounds. Capitanio out.
Let's have a look at the replay once again, Gerald. We can see that Romeo had a quicker ET with a 551 at 254 miles per hour. but that slower reaction time cost him the race.
A lot of work for the De Filippo team to do, though, before they come out for the semi-finals of Top Fuel. You see from behind, both the cars start to smoke the tyres. Darren De Filippo back on it. Those nitro engines don't like that, though. You can see the fire erupt from the back of the roll cage area there where the engine is, and the crew will have a lot of work to do between the rounds. The great part about drag racing, though, Craig, is that many of the teams have spare engines in the transporters. They'll come back out here again.
Well, next pairing up for the first round of Top Fuel, we see Roy Smith over in the video lane. He'll be taking on Steve Reed in the Sandoz Cranes car.
Steve Reed, closest to camera, a three-time Nationals winner, twice in Top Alcohol, once in Top Fuel driving for Sando Rapisada. Roy Smith, a veteran of the sport, has never got anywhere in the past. He looks as though he will this time. Reed in all sorts of troubles off the start line. His car didn't want to go anywhere, and Roy Smith takes a huge upset win, 592.
Well, Jim Reed in the Gregory-sponsored car up next, taking on Robin Kirby in the video lane. Both cars up in the stage. Lights come down. Reed got away first, but Reed's up in smoke. Kirby's up in smoke. This is going to come right down to the wire. Jim Reed just gets there with a time of 582, 242 miles per hour. Robin Kirby a 586. That was one tough race, Gerald.
Classical drag race. Robin Kirby in all sorts of troubles down the bottom end of the racetrack. 586 for the Pennzoil car. It has exploded a tyre. No doubt the conrods came out the side. Let's look at a replay from above. Reed goes up in smoke first. Then it was Kirby. Reed was back on the throttle. And even though the Gregory's car still smoked the tyres at the top end of the racetrack, he went by for a win through to the semis.
Well, Rochelle Splatt in the Valvoline Cummins sponsored car on screen now. She'll be up against Terry Sadie. Both cars about to make their way up into stage. Lights come down. Reaction time very similar indeed. A little bit of smoke coming from Sadie. As you can see, Rochelle Splatt looked like she got off the throttle, and Terry Sadie goes through with an easy win at 551 at 266 miles per hour. Rochelle Splatt a 550.
The win margin just 0.004 of a second that time. Let's go to the replay. Have a look to the right of screen. You see Splatt's car move. Sadie was right after her. The Valvoline car didn't smoke the tyres like Sadie's car, but look at the top end. Just gets by.
Well, that was one tough race, and of course, Rochelle Splatt, that's the last time we'll see you here at Calder Park to last Nationals, and what a way to bow out.
Certainly was. Look at Terry Sadie on the left of the screen. The car starts to smoke the tyres. It moves around a whole lot, but he held on to win. Let's go down and have a chat to Rochelle.
I knew I was in front. I couldn't see Terry at all. I thought I might have shut off a little bit early because he just went past me at that last split second, and I thought, well, he's either just passed me at the finish line or I've just made it.
Pro Stock Motorcycle, let's go through the top qualifiers. Sam Skerry put it on pole, 787. Angelo Ganidis, Paul Andrews, Neville Langley, Jason Lee, Colin Lenny, Chris Gadisi and Brian Lennon are in the 8-bike field. Conditions are tough this weekend. How tough is it for Sam Skerry, our number one qualifier?
Oh, most definitely the heat and the wind, and yeah, he's got to try and bear with all the conditions, but fingers crossed, things may go our way, and can only hope.
Well, Brian Lennon on screen right now in the video lane. He'll be taking on number one qualifier Sam Skerry, who's on screen right now.
Always a tough one for the number one qualifier, Craig. They're up against a guy who has nothing to lose and look for a halt shot from Brian Lennon or a red light. That's normally what happens. So Lennon on the far side of screen, Skerry on the close side, and Lennon got the hold shot. Skerry waited a little bit, but the Dutch Master Suzuki, it is on a ride down the quarter mile. Skerry through to the next round, 778 at 173. That would have been a tough run to stop.
Well, next pairing of Pro Stock Motorcycle, we see Chris Gadisi on screen right now. Now he'll be taking on Angelo Ganidis. Now Ganidis, a formal Nationals winner. He qualified in number 2 spot with a 788 at 167 miles per hour.
Should be a good race between these two. Gadisi, first time in Pro Stock Motorcycle this season, has already been to a final round. Ganidis got the advantage time off the start line, and it looks as though the power of his Suzuki will hold out. It does down the bottom end of the racetrack, 790, 164 mile an hour. Whoa, just a little ride over the bump down there at the end of the quarter mile.
Well, next pairing, Colin Lenny up next, taking on Paul Andrews. Paul Andrews aboard the Motorsport Trailer-sponsored bike. Very similar looking bikes. as they're both up into stage.
10/10 motorcycle for Colin Linney is right in the groove. Andrew had problems. He actually went out towards the outside line. Linney stayed in the groove. He got the win 7.93 at 1.65. The Sydney Sider, he's going through to the semi-finals.
Well, next pairing, Jason Lee will take on Neville Langley. Langley in the crowd side lane. You're looking at him right now. Jason Lee over on the far side. As both bikes are about to come up. Revs come up. Jason Lee gets a beautiful leave off the line, and he's a very tough man to beat, especially when you give him a leave like that.
The defending Nationals champion is going through to the semi-finals here at Calder Park Raceway for the Bob Jane Team Art Nationals. Jason Lee, that time 8.06. Langley an 8.11. Had he been right on the ball game at the start line, Craig, he actually would have been in a chance of taking a win and going through the semi-finals.
Yeah, it was very close indeed. As we see the replay, Jason Lee got a beautiful leave off the line, and of course that can be won and lost in drag racing.
We're going to a break. We'll be back after this.
Just can't get enough of Neighbours. 6:30 weeknights on 10.
Pizza Haven is giving you and a friend the chance to win the ultimate Clipsal 500 prize, valued at $15,000, including return airfares and accommodation, corporate hospitality at the Clipsal 500 Adelaide, V8 Supercar Hot Lap, entry into the Brock Partners Kart Challenge, a set of CSA alloy wheels, $2,000 worth of Mistral products, backstage pass to the Triple M concert, and lots more. For your chance to win, select the best V8 Supercar tackle from the following: Ben phone 1902.
Welcome back to Calder Park Raceway. Top door slammer action up next. Peter Kapiris, the number one qualifier, 6.37, right in front of Victor Bray, 6.39. Also making the field, Robin Judd, David Simpson, Brett Stevens, Andrew Searle, Peter Gratz and Dave Coop. But what a difference 12 months makes. It certainly has made a difference for Peter Kapiris.
This time last year, I was sitting in the back of my trailer thinking, crikey, I hope I don't get bumped out. You know, we're right on number 8, and to come out here in top qualifier is just fantastic, and in front of your home crowd.
Great achievement for Peter Kapiris, and talking about home crowd, he is a real homely guy. Brett Stevens on screen, the Jack Daniels Racing Studebaker, taking on David Simpson from Perth on the left of screen in the Ford Falcon.
Well, fairly even off the line as we see. Brett Stevens certainly has the power this time out, though. He gets there with a 6.51, 215 miles per hour. Dave Simpson a 6.72 at 215 miles per hour.
Good run for Brett Stevens, who is doing double duty this weekend. There's Dave Simpson. He's going home. Here's our number one qualifier, Peter Kapiris, in the Kapiris brothers. Studebaker appears as though there's a problem there with Dave Coop. The Chevy is turned off. Kapiris has a solo run through to the next round.
Well, certainly Peter wouldn't be all that happy with that. He loves racing other people, but he's got an automatic ticket into the next round in the Penzall Kapiris brothers. Studebaker, as he waits, the lights come down. Nice, even leave, and the car moves around a little bit at half track, but he runs it through. Runs a 6.50, 225 miles per hour. Great mile per hour, Gerald.
Fastest ever run for Peter Kapiris, and that really is starting to put him in the hunt. There's Victor Bray on screen. Murray Anderson there is signalling one car only. There is dramas. The big man of drag racing, Victor Bray, is out in the first round at the Nationals yet again.
Yeah, by the looks of things, Gerald, he is going to stage the car, and hopefully he's going to wait for Peter Gratz to have some sort of drama.
Maybe hoping for Gratz to red light, because there was certainly a signal of just one car only. A little bit of drama here at Calder Park for the Bob Jane Team Art Nationals. Peter Gratz, Victor Bray, top door slammer action.
Well, Gratzy gets away and, well, certainly doesn't have any dramas as Peter Gratz Runs the Dodge through with a 6.73, 204 miles per hour. What does Victor need to do to win a Nationals?
Well, he has a hoodoo here at Calder Park for the Nationals. Robin Judd on screen, another one of the famed Studebakers out of Murray Anderson's workshops. Andrew Searle, the Queenslander, the guy who got a great reputation last year, winning all the events around the country, including this one, the Nationals. He is the defending champion.
Well, this should be a great race. Both cars fairly even in their times as Robin Judd gets a beautiful leave off the line, keeps the Studi out in front all the way down. He stops the clock, 6.48, and no mile per hour coming up. Andrew Searle, 6.85 at 205 miles per hour.
Good win for Robin Judd and the West Australians. Andrew Searle, defending champion, out in the first round at the 2000 Nationals. Let's go to top bike and see the qualifying Ian Ashelford from Perth. Number one qualifier, 7.37, just ahead of Jeff Smith, 7.39. Brett Stevens, 7.40. 8 bikes in the field. Unfortunately, Peter Pearce did not qualify. You don't see his name there, 9.70. Wasn't quite good enough. Jeff Smith on screen at the moment. He's first up. And Craig, he's on a solo run.
He certainly is. Should be up against Graham Morrell, but Morrell obviously had some dramas and couldn't get to this first round. So Jeff Smith runs it through with a 7.25 at 189 miles per hour. Gets an automatic ticket into the next round.
Lower laps time for the weekend so far. Great run for Smith. Here is Stevens on screen. We saw him. He's doing double duty in the door slammer as well. Up against Jay Upton. What about this bike? The Triumph.
And Upton has got some dramas this time. He was suffering from clutch problems in qualifying as Brett Stevens takes it through. Nice, easy win. 8.40 at only 120 miles per hour. He's off the throttle at the top end. And Jay Upton, once again, with dramas with that new bike.
Brett Stevens into the semi-finals in both top door slammer and top bike now. Magnificent achievement for the Jack Daniels racing team. Here we go. Here's one of the Victorians, Steve Little, about to take on Brett Jonas, the West Australian, Ian Ashelford's partner. There he is on screen. He is not happy. He's off the bike. Steve Little is going to have a solo. Brett Jonas, very, very disappointed, shaking his head. Looks as though they've had some sort of problem. The bike stopped at the end of the burnout. I would tend to suggest that might be an ignition problem.
Well, Jonas all the way over from Western Australia, very tough not to, to be beaten in the first round, but not even to run in the first round. That is tough.
Both these guys actually won rounds of the recent American Drag Bike Association International Challenge at 3 rounds held around Australia. Steve Little goes through a good run, 8.87. Well, they're trying to pick the pace up, 1.72. They're through to the semi-final zone. That's an upset.
It certainly is. Well, Craig Bonwick taking on top qualifier Ian Ashelford up next. Ashelford got off the line beautifully and he's powering on. Great win for him. He takes it through 7.27, 179 miles per hour. Bonwick with dramas, a 9.26 at only 138 miles per hour.
Ashelford and Smith are trading punches, 7.25 to a 7.27. These guys are really going to get down to it. And let's go into qualifying for top alcohol. Gary Phillips on top as usual. 5.75 with a 4. Mark Brew, exactly the same. 5.75 with a 4. Also making the field, Wayne Newby, Dean Oakey, Paul Shackleton, Steve Reed, Matthew Featon, and Robert Ambrosi. Well done, Robert. Let's get into the action, and we will see Gary Phillips run up against the rookie funny car driver, Ambrosi. Look at that fantastic flamed Pontiac funny car.
Well, it's the first time for Ambrosi in top alcohol and the first time at the Nationals in the first round up against Gary Phillips, one tough competitor.
What is Robert Ambrosi thinking at this particular point in time? The pressure's on. The funny car moves out towards the edge of the track. Phillips, the Lucas Oil Products machine, great run. Yet again, Gary Phillips, 5.82.38. Robert Sister's happy. He got beaten, but a 6.25 at 225 mile an hour. That's a great run for Robert Ambrosi. Well done.
Mark Brew on screen now in the Pro Force dragster. This is one tough competitor, Gerald.
Certainly is, Craig. Mark Brew and his crew chief Bob Brackham are really starting to be running tough around Australia, taking on Matthew Featon, the Maverick dragster. You would expect Brew to have the advantage here. He qualified number 2. It is going to form. Mark Brew takes the win, 5.88. 240 mile an hour. Good performance for the Romac team from Queensland. Featon, 6.72. So Craig seemed to have some problems.
You certainly did, Gerald. Well, the next pairing on screen now, we see Wayne Newby just being back into his hot tracks, which are all important in drag racing, Gerald.
They certainly are, Craig, because the car will do a burnout. The tyres get nice and warm and sticky. You back the car right into those tracks. Hot rubber on the track, warm tyres. You should have the best traction. They're taking on Steve Reed, a three-time Nationals winner in his Olds Cutlass funny car. This should be a good race. Newby at the moment does have the performance advantage, qualified with a 5.75.
Well, an even leave as they leave the line. Steve Reed in the funny car, a little bit out of shape off the line. But here comes Wayne Newby, goes through with a 5.88, 239 miles per hour. Steve Reed with a 6.09 at 235 miles per hour.
The funny car didn't quite have the performance at that time, but what about Newby, Brew and Phillips? They put it on in qualifying. They're doing it in racing as well. They're all in the 5.8 second range in the first round. Paul Shackleton and Dean Oakey, the third generation racer up this time. Shackleton closest to screen in the Castrol Racing dragster from far north Queensland.
Well, the revs come up on the dragsters, about to bring the cars up into full stage. As we see Shackleton in, Oakey's in, lights come down. Shackleton got the jump off the line, and he's going to be one tough competitor to beat. They both run down into the 590s, but Shackleton gets there with a 5.90, 221 miles per hour. Great run for Dean Oakey, a 5.96 at 234 miles per hour.
Dean Oakey is out of the 2000 Nationals, though. So are we. We're going to a break.
7:30 Monday.
Welcome back to Calder Park Raceway. The sight and sound is fantastic. Peter Ridgway, top qualifier in the No Fear Olds Cutlass, 770, just ahead of Tony Wedlock. Craig Hastings in the field, Bruce Leake, Joe Polito, Bruno Cagnetto just snuck in the field, Nick Motzos and John Andriopoulos. The heat's oppressive. What's Peter Ridgway think?
Yeah, look, I think if the air comes in, we hope to improve on it. The No Fear Oldsmobile really performed well last night, considering the conditions, and the crew worked late into the night preparing the car for today, so let's hope for the best.
The best only comes if you're well prepared, and Peter Ridgway is just that. So are all of the competitors here, including Nick Motzos on screen. The American Performance in Parts car taking on number 2 qualifier Tony Wedlock, and Wedlock has problems. Craig Russell, a major upset here. Motzos through to the semi-finals.
Yeah, Motzos, a 7.99, 172 miles per hour. As we saw, Tony Wedlock, the car just died off the line. He rolled through with a 10.18.
Bruno Cagnetto, what about this? A VPW mail order team. Great story, taking on the defending Australian Pro Stock champion Craig Hasted. Cagnetto just snuck into the field today in the final qualifying session. Can he capitalise on that little bit of luck that he had? He's got the hold shot from Hasted. The VPW Olds Cutlass is going through.
Cagnetto goes through 7.79 at 175 miles per hour. Craig Hasted 7.85. That was have to be one of the runs of the day. Very close indeed.
Well, as we said earlier, the weather is extremely oppressive here at Calder Park Raceway. Very hot indeed. Truckmate and Joe Polito, what a great combination. There is a 3-time Australian champion on screen taking on Bruce Leake. Now, Polito is trying for 4 Nationals in a row here this weekend. Can Bruce Leake upset him? We're about to find out.
Very even leave as they left the line. Polito looks like he's just got his nose out in front at half track. It's going to come all the way down to the wire though. Bruce Leake gets there. 7.82 at 175 miles per hour. Joe Polito with a 7.85 at 173 miles per hour.
The win margin, Craig, 3 thousandths of a second. You just can't really get any closer than that. Joe Polito, 3-time Nationals winner, is out in the first round as we look at the replay. Both these cars got out. They settled nice and quickly. They're right in the groove. Let's have a look. Bang, there it is. And that race typifies what Pro Stock is all about. It's tough racing and it's extremely, extremely close.
I think that's what inspires me to race Pro Stock, is because of the closeness of the racing, and more than, you know, you don't have to change the wheel on a blower or just throw money at it.
and plenty of people do, you have to actually use your brains, and you have to put a lot of thought behind the race car, and you've got to have good people around you. And, you know, I can't stress how important the crew that I have behind me is. And a lot of thought goes into it, and because they're so fine to tune, and like I've won races by less than a thousandth of a second, and you know, there's no better feeling. You know, like it's like winning a grand final by a point, you know, which is fantastic.
It certainly is fantastic. This is a view you get from Peter Ridgway's car, the Oldsmobile Cutlass, and of course supported by No Fear.
About to take on John Andriopoulos in the first round of Pro Stock Eliminator. And what about the tacho on the left-hand side up the top of the dash there? You could see the red lever just going absolutely wild. There's inside Andriopoulos' beautiful Auto Concepts Chevy Lumina. This car is just magnificent in its presentation. Andriopoulos 2 years ago went to the final round at the Nationals. He's taking on a former Nationals winner and the first in the 7-second range at Pro Stock, Peter Ridgway, in that No Fear Olds Cutlass.
Yeah, Peter Ridgway is certainly the man to beat in Pro Stock as they both come up. The revs come up on both cars. And reaction time went to Andriopoulos, but here comes Peter Ridgway. Andriopoulos has got dramas. Ridgway's going to go through with an easy win as he stops the clocks. 7.76, 177 miles per hour, and a 10.67 for Andriopoulos. So he had some dramas, Gerald.
He did have some dramas, Craig, and he'll have plenty of time to think about that. The Auto Concepts team will come back again another day. Let's have a look at the replay from the No Fear cam. Inside Ridgway's car, shifting through the gears, the hand goes up on the parachute. Ridgway's going through to the semi-finals. We're going to a break. We're going to be back right after this.
A simple book. In its pages, the darkest secrets.
That was blood money.
With the power to make women weak.
Who shot him?
And grown men die.
You're the only one that's ever seen what's inside that book.
The secrets revealed on an all-new Law and Order. Then she spends all day tracking down the scum of New York.
I understand this guy, Don. He hates women who take control.
What happens when the scum comes looking for her?
Benson.
Hi, Olivia.
All new Law and Order and SVU, Monday.
I know. Oh, I gotta go. Hey, Grandpa, we ought to talk more. Call me. Please, stop playing with your phone. Hey, you want to hang out with Grandpa?
New car.
Oh, I wish, like riding the wind.
It'd be hot air if you were driving.
It's a 12-cylinder.
That's about 4 more than you need.
It's more sophisticated.
Both these engines share their most sophisticated component.
Yeah, right.
Shell Helix Ultra, Baz. The only engine oil that Ferrari use and recommend. Shall we?
Absolutely.
I wash this side of my hair with Joico. Retails around $13. This side with Hairdresser's Formula at $5.95. I can't tell the difference. Can you? It's not Joico, but we think it's as good. Try it and see. You'll love it.
Do you find your hair dull and lifeless at times? Hairdresser's Formula Mega Shine will give it an instant lift. Simply rub through hair, no rinsing, and voila! Beautiful, shiny hair. It won't happen overnight. It'll happen instantly. Try it. You'll love it.
One of the great pastimes of surfing is checking out the waves. Not a bad wave, that one. A-Tom. Jim seems to like the right-handers. And Bill spotted a good one. And Dave reckons that wave's perfect. Some guys will do anything for a wave.
Thanks to Pizza Haven, be watching Sports Tonight all this week to register your vote for the best V8 supercar tackle. And you and a friend have the chance to win the ultimate Clipsal 500 prize valued at $15,000. Thank goodness they know how to make great pizza.
Yeah? Is your Ericsson phone easy to use? So easy, even you, Grandpa. Where are you? Hey, you want to hang out with Grandpa?
Semi-finals time for Top Fuel coming up right now. On screen now we have Jim Reed in the Gregory's car, and he'll be facing off against Roy Smith.
Two veterans of the sport of drag racing here. Roy Smith returned to Top Fuel racing after an absence of about 20 years, just a couple of seasons ago. Running a unique car. It's a Sainty-powered car. Read out the Gregory's Automotive Publications car has broken. Smith, major upset. Craig, there's Mickey Atherwood. He is happy. The veterans, Atherwood and Smith, they're through to the final round. 580, they're taking a win. Jim Reed, Gregory's Automotive Publications are out of here.
Wow, what an upset. Absolute upset. And will the upsets continue as we see Darren DeFilippo on screen right now? The car just fires into life. He'll be taking on Terry Sainty, who's not behind the wheel of his own car, Gerald. He's driving somebody else's car.
He is, for the first time this weekend, driving a traditional Hemi-powered car. And Sainty is going alone. We spoke about upsets, Craig. Here it is. Sainty is through to the final. He just has to stage the car. The Philippos have turned off the Redback Performance exhaust car.
Well, Terry Sainty certainly on a strong pass. Shuts it off nice and early, though. Why waste it? He's through to the final. Runs it through the 6.23 at only 149 miles per hour.
The team were very happy indeed. We spoke about upsets. There has been another one. There is a very disconsolate Darren DeFilippo, the Redback Performance exhaust team. They've tried hard, but it's all over. It is often thought that drag racing vehicles bear little or no resemblance to what is driven on the street. However, most are surprised to learn that drag racing machines do still rely on the basic principles of automotive engineering, which have been forged during the first 100 years of motoring, especially in the critical suspension department. For a car such as Victor Bray's Chevy to reach speeds of 370 kilometres per hour, the suspension must be adaptable and flexible enough to work in varying conditions. On the launch, at speed, and then under braking, much like your average family sedan. No one knows this better than World Championship winning chassis builder Murray Anderson.
Yeah, well, they are as important as each other. Like for road cars, you need to have the comfort and control and safety of the vehicle. They're the utmost for road-going cars. But drag racing, they're as important, because if the suspension's not right, nothing's right, because everything is transversed through the suspension. So it is very critical.
Anderson, who builds his own specialised race suspensions, including the front McPherson struts and his world-renowned swing arm rear end, says that a race car's suspension must help the car to adapt to the track after it's left the line, like a family sedan needs to do once it has travelled up to speed.
You have to transfer the weight initially, so that part of the suspension has to be correct, but from that point on, it loses transfer. So via the suspension, you can control that, and that's where it's really important.
Champion pro stock racer Peter Ridgway only knows too well how critical the suspension is to the performance of his No Fear Oldsmobile at both ends of the racetrack. Firstly, on the start line,
you're on your own. At that stage, I'll set the shockers. You know, they're electronic shockers, so what I have to do is I have to click a switch, set them onto a hard setting so the car leaves hard. Then, after he has successfully made a quarter-mile pass and is travelling at over 280 kilometres an hour into the braking area. Get the car stabilised and at the same time turn the fuel pump off, the computer off, reset the shockers and everything so the car's soft in the braking area and pull it up. So, you know, in 7 odd seconds there is quite a lot of work to do.
Semi-final time for the top door slammers right up now, as we see Peter Kapiris in the Kapiris Brothers Pennzoil-sponsored 53 Studebaker. He'll be taking on the 53 Studebaker of Brett Stevens in the Jack Daniels entry.
Good to see these two cars going head-to-head here at Calder Park Raceway. Conditions have improved considerably. The temperature has dropped, a little bit of a cool breeze. The track is still warm, Craig, so we should see a great race between these two. Heads up, top door slammers.
Oh, Kapiris got off the line first. Is it going to be enough? He's certainly holding it all the way down. He stops the clock, 6.46. 219 miles per hour. The Pennzoil crew are happy. Brett Stevens is 6.57 at 213 miles per hour.
6.468 seconds for Kapiris. Take note of that. We're talking lane choice for the final. Robin Judd and Peter Gratz about to go head-to-head. There's Gratz on screen, two-time Nationals champion, and they have to run better than a 6.468 to get lane choice for the final. You've got to win here first. Whoever wins is going through the final naturally enough.
So Peter Gratz on screen right now, just being directed up into the staging beams. He'll be taking on Robin Judd from Western Australia. The revs come up on both cars, about to go into full stage. Who's going to go in first? Judd's moving. He's in. Gratz is in. So lights come down, fairly even lead for both guys. Judd's got his nose out in front all the way down there. Robin Judd goes through. Get this, Gerald. 6.468, 219 miles per hour. Identical to Kapiris' run.
Absolutely identical to a T. It will go to mile an hour. Peter Gratz is out of here in semi-final time. Good effort. Well, who gets lane choice for top door slammer? We'll work that out. There's Paul Shackleton on screen, the Castrol Racing dragster from far north Queensland. He's about to take on the Lucas Oil Products car of Gary Phillips. This is top alcohol. Heads up, we've got dragsters in the finals.
Well, the revs come up once again on these top alcohol cars. Gary Phillips still to come in. He's in. So lights come down, fairly even lead for both guys. Shackleton's got some problems. Gary Phillips goes through into another final, 5.80 at 238 miles per hour. And Shackleton, 9.14. So had some dramas off the line, Gerald.
Phillips trying for 5 in a row. Shackleton disappointed. Has run fantastic here this weekend. Got nothing to be ashamed of. No doubt he will be back to try again next year. There's Mark Brew on the far side of the screen in the Pro Force Bob Brackham tune, Maya Dragster. And taking on Wayne Newby, the number 2 and 3 qualifiers.
Well, as they leave the line, Wayne Newby had some dramas. Mark Brew's going to go through with an easy win as he stops the clocks, 5.80, 242 miles per hour. Wayne Newby, unfortunately, he's out of here.
We've got more semi-final action coming up from the Bob J. T-Mart Nationals. We're bouncing right out of here.
Welcome to the fast food restaurant where there's something new on the menu.
What if this man's brain was eaten right out of his skull?
Sink your teeth into a brand new X-File. 8:30 Wednesday on 10. Bon appetit.
It's bigger than a sale, more colossal than a clearance. It's Toyota's first ever massive March Marathon. Toyota dealers are under instructions to move thousands of new cars, used cars, demonstrators and remaining 99 stock, and fast. You stand to make massive savings on Echos, Corollas, Prados, RAV4s and more, plus great deals on trade-ins. Toyota's massive March Marathon. Thousands of cars massively reduced. Don't miss out. Oh, what a marathon!
One of the great pastimes of surfing is checking out the waves. Not a bad wave, that one. A-Tom. Jim seems to like the right-handers. And Bill spotted a good one. And Dave reckons that wave's perfect. Some guys will do anything for a wave.
G'day, Sydney here with our amazing sofa bed packages. There's the Harvey package. You get a 2-seater, a matching 2.5-seater with a sofa bed, all for $6.99. The Joanne package, $7.99. The Botany package, $8.99. Then there's the Santa Fe package. You get this 2-seater sofa, a matching 2.5-seater, 4 scatter cushions, a sofa bed, plus a bonus footstool. The lot, $9.99. Sydney, the package deal king, with 10 great locations as a store near you. And still pay only $10 deposit with 2 years to pay.
Hey, Hey, Warren, watch me slide.
No, Felicity, don't go near the slide.
Felicity!
Nothing's cheesier than the new Pizza Hut pan pizzas, now with 20% more mozzarella.
Pizza Hut! They open up discussion, but this doesn't open up discussion. I mean, those ads are about opening up discussion.
We discuss it, though.
Yeah, I know, yeah, but it doesn't. It doesn't.
It opens up discussion, but no one missed that.
The Paddle, Wednesday on 10.
Welcome back to Calder Park Raceway semi-final time. Steve Little, he is doing big things in Top Fuel Bike this weekend through to the semi-finals. We've already seen some upsets. Craig Russell, Ian Ashleford, #1 qualifier, taking on Little. In Top Fuel, we saw Roy Smith and Terry Saney through the final. Can it happen here?
Well, I'll tell you what, Ian Ashleford had some troubles off the line. It looks like we are. The Steve Little goes through with a win, a 768, 174 miles per hour. The crew are wrapped with that. Ian Ashleford, 8:11 at 178 miles per hour.
It is the upset nationals here at Calder Park Raceway for the Bob J. T-Mart Nationals. Jeff Smith and Brett Stevens. I tell you what, these two want to go at it. Head to head, lights away. Stevens in trouble. Smith close to that line, but he goes through 7:48. He will have lane choice in the final against Steve Little. Brett Stevens, fantastic weekend for the Jack Daniels team.
Pro Stock semi-finals coming up right now as we see the Oldsmobile Cutlass of Bruno Cagnetto. He'll be taking on Nick Moutsos in that beautiful Chevy Cavalier.
Well, we've seen upsets. Can Cagnetto, who just got into qualify in the last shot. Moutsos is in all sorts of problems. Smoke coming out of the Lumina, and Cagnetto goes through, takes a win. The VPW crew, they're saying, hey, we're through 7:78. He is upset-minded. I tell you what, the VPW crew, are they mail ordering a win here at the Nationals? Nick Moutsos, 8:06.
Well, the next pairing in the semi-finals for Pro Stock, we see Bruce Leake on the far side. He'll be taking on #1 qualifier Peter Ridgway in that no-fear Oldsmobile.
The two fastest Pro Stock cars in Australia. Leake, the current record holder, just over 178 mile an hour. Ridgway last night, only the second person to run 178. He took 1 extra mile an hour. That means a lot in Pro Stock. We talked about the closeness. Here they go. Great lead from both of these guys. They are drilled at half track. They're drilled at the finish line. Ridgway just gets there. 7:72. 170. I tell you what, he's back on the pace. 7:82 for Bruce Leake. Unfortunately, good run, not good enough.
As we have another look through the no-fear cam, you can see the shift light coming on as he changes through the gears, pops the chute, and that was Peter Ridgway's winning run.
Pro Stock motorcycle semi-final, Sam Skerry closest to screen, the Dutch master Suzuki of Trevor Birrell. You can see him leaning against the bike. Dale Gilbert has just moved away from Jason Lee's motorcycle. Dale owns it. Great friends, all of these four guys. Heads up racing. Let's see who's going to go through to the final round. It is Skerry. He's there, 7:74. 172. They have been on the pace this weekend. Sammy looks happy. 7:99.2. Jason Lee, the defending Nationals champion, isn't going to get another shot at his crown.
Well, who's going to be up against him as we see the next pairing? Colin Lenny on the far side. He'll be taking on Angelo Ganitas, who is in view right now. Both bikes about to come up in the stage. Revs come up.
These things are exciting to ride, Craig. And Ganitas had some problems, I think, off the line. Lenny just got out in front first. He's held him out too. This is a big upset. 7:87 for Ganitas. Lenny wins with the slowest 7:90. Whole shot. And that's the way many drag races are won and lost. And Angelo Ganitas would be happy with the bike's performance. Not quite happy about this start off the line. You see he tried hard, Craig. He pushed it all the way, but couldn't quite make it.
No, he could not. But we can, because we're going to a break.
Today, we're giving away 3 rides of a lifetime with Victor Bray. Simply ring and register your details and you're automatically in the running to win one of 3 trips of terror. Experience the sheer adrenaline from the passenger seat as Victor Bray tears up the Calder Park quarter-mile track with speeds in excess of 220 miles an hour. If you live outside Victoria, don't worry, we'll fly you to Melbourne. And as a permanent memento of the experience, we'll capture it on film for you. Here's the number. Get to the phone, dial 1902 554 664. 1902 554 664.
Bill and Baz are back for the season return of RPM, your home of motorsport, next on 10.
Oh, when your roof is getting lost between the lichen and the moss, when your mortar isn't where it ought to be, and give it back that old appeal with a visit from Roof Seal. 1-800-65-31-22.
Hi, I'm the Roof Seal. Let me clean, replace tiles, repair mortar and recoat your roof for a fraction of new roof price. And there's 20% off if you call now.
1-800-65-31-22. Roof!
It's bigger than a sale, more colossal than a clearance. It's Toyota's first ever massive March Marathon. Toyota dealers are under instructions to move thousands of new cars, used cars, demonstrators and remaining 99 stock, and fast. You stand to make massive savings on Echos, Corollas, Prados, RAV4s and more. Plus great deals on trade-ins. Toyota's massive March Marathon. Thousands of cars massively reduced. Don't miss out. Oh, what a marathon!
Great party, although I had no idea it was fancy dress. There's Lenny the Lion. Hi. Fantastic costume. And Susie the Hyena. However, there's no disguising the unique taste of Schweppes. Ah, perfection. Hello, dear. Care for a drink? It's me, George. Cleaner, crisper Schweppes. Just a little more bite.
G'day, Sydney here with bedding deals you only dream about. You get a queen-size slat bed, a queen-size inner spring mattress, a fitted sheet, a flat sheet, a continental quilt cover, 4 pillows and 4 pillowcases. Everything you need for a good night's sleep. Like the Miami package, $4.99, the Bellary package, $5.99, the Melody package, $6.99, and the Johanna package, $7.99. Sydney's Lounges and Bedding, with stores all over Melbourne. There's one near you, and still pay only $10 deposit with 2 years to pay.
You prepaid mobile. No monthly fees, no contracts to sign. Use it, don't use it. It's your call.
Welcome back to Calder Park Raceway for the Bob J. T-Mart Nationals. This is where dreams are made and hearts are broken, Craig. It is the finals. Pro Stock Motorcycle. We've got Sam Skerry on the left of screen, Craig Linney on the right.
This is certainly going to be a tough race as the lights come down. Linney gets off the line first. Sam Skerry's going to be a hard man to beat, though. He's picked him up at half track. Oh, almost. It's going to be close. Skerry gets here with a win, a 7.75, 168 miles per hour to a 7.96 at 164 miles per hour.
Skerry used that Trevor Birrell horsepower to advantage. Colin Linney, great efforts with the 10/10ths motorcycle, but it was a Dutch master team that have taken the win here at Calder Park Raceway for the Bob J. T-Mart Nationals. And you see Skerry just get that bike out on the line, in the groove, head down. He is one happy man, no doubt about that. Let's have a chat.
I'm ecstatic. I might not look it, but I definitely am. First Nationals. I've got to thank Trevor. We really worked our butts off this weekend to try and get this thing happening.
Well, Sam Skerry's certainly speechless here. That's what the Nationals is all about. And right now we've got the final 4 top bikes. Steve Little, he's in view right now. He'll be up against Jeff Smith. This is going to be one hell of a race, Gerald.
Should be the Penrite team are probably up against it. Jeff Smith, a Nationals winner in the past, trying to make it a win here again this weekend. Little is upset-minded. He gets the jump off the start on the Penrite Harley. Will he have it? No, the creative spraying team, they've gone all the way through yet again. They've taken it 7.36. The crew are ecstatic. 192, 7.73 for Steve Little. A good effort, a valiant effort. Unfortunately, not quite enough.
Well, you can see that Steve Little certainly got the jump off the line. He knew it was going to be a tough ask to try and beat Steve Smith. Smith has had that Harley going. It's the first Harley into the 200 mile per hour zone here in Australia. And Smith goes through with an easy win.
Bruno Cagnetto is upset-minded like Colin Linney and Steve Little. He wants to knock off the #1 qualifier. There he is, Peter Ridgway, the No Fear Olds Cutlass. Cagnetto, VPW mail order Olds Cutlass. These two cars are the quickest pro stockers in Australia. They have run deep into the 7.6 second range, and this should be a great race. We've talked about the closeness of pro stock, the V8 touring cars of drag racing. This will go right to the wire.
Yeah, certainly will. The rev's about to come up on the two pro stock cars, about to bring them into stage. This is going to be a tough race.
Heads Up Drag Racing, small block Chevys, powering both these cars, carburetted, 700, 800 plus horsepower, 5-speed manual transmissions, and just a few hundred feet of blacktop standing between them and Nationals glory. And Bruno Cagnetto has won it. The VPW mail order team, 776. Beats a quicker 772. We spoke about hole shots. Cagnetto has used it to perfection. We look at the replay, the win margin, Craig, 6 thousandths of a second.
Yeah, absolutely nothing in it on the line. And boy, I couldn't pick it. That is close at the top end as well.
What a great race. That is what drag racing is all about. And Peter Ridgway, no doubt, be a little bit disappointed he didn't win. But hey, the No Fear team got there. So too has Gary Phillips. 5 in a row. Will we see him do it? You see that little thing in his helmet? Little light. Actually, that's his shift light. There's Mark Brew. Talk about upset-minded again. Brewy wants his first Nationals win in that Maya dragster, the Pro Force car with Bob Bracken tuning it.
Well, these two guys certainly have been hammer and tong over the last couple of meetings, and Brew feels like he owes Gary Phillips something as we go for the green. Tell you what, the reaction time, it was very hard to pick. It's going to be close right at the top, though. Mark Brew gets there, 5.74, 2.43 miles per hour. Brew wins the Nationals. Gary Phillips with a 5.73 quicker time, and again we see it won and lost on the start line.
Just amazing. Gary Phillips 5.73 at 2.42. Both those drivers couldn't tell who would win. I would expect from inside the car. Bob Brackham and the Romac team are absolutely ecstatic, and deservedly so. The win margin, about half a car. Well, what does a driver do before the final round? There's a lot of tension building up, a lot of expectations. We caught up with Peter Kapiris.
I don't know, just joke around with the boys, try to keep calm, look around, see what's happening. And it's very nerve-wracking, but you just try to be cool, you know.
Well, how do you be cool at the Nationals? That's what every single racer wants to win. Well, right now we've got the final of top door slammer Robin Judd takes on Peter Kapiris in the Kapiris Brothers Pennzoil Studebaker.
Has he been cool enough, Craig? That is the question. Kapiris there, closest to screen. Judd over the other side. Two Studebakers yet again.
Yeah, very becoming a popular car in top door slammers. Both the revs come up on the cars.
This is going to be a great race, right down to the wire. Kapiris got lane choice by a faster mile per hour in the semi-finals. They are at it. Studebakers, Judd's out in front. He is going close to the centre line. Oh boy, what has happened? We will need to go to the replay. The wind's gone to Peter Kapiris. Obviously, Judd has touched the centre line, Craig.
Yeah, we'll have a look at the replay once again. Judd's car getting a little out of the groove. And it's a good view, actually. We can see what he hit.
There it is.
Yep, bang.
All won and lost right there. Judd, it didn't matter that he got to the finish line first. He touched that centre line, and that, unfortunately, is automatic disqualification. Peter Kapiris, the winner.
Well, a great view from Terry Sadie's car. We're about to go into the final for top fuel. And as you can see, great view from the Burnout Gerald.
Terrific view, in fact, Terry Sainty, the first time he's actually had a Hemi engine. See the engine behind Roy Smith there? That is a Sainty engine. Here's a great story of the Bob Jane Team Art Nationals. It's Roy Smith using an engine that Terry Sainty and his dad Stan have designed. Mick Athelwood and Roy Smith are using it in their car. Terry Sainty, this weekend, he's driving another car with a Hemi engine. The first time he's ever done that. Who's going to be the winner? Obviously, a Sainty.
Without a doubt. Whether it's going to be a Sainty engine or a Sainty driver.
There we go, Terry Sainey closest to screen there, about to bring the car up into the staging beams, as too will Roy Smith. This should be a great race.
It certainly will be a great race, and we're about to go. Both cars about to come up into the full staging beams. And here we go.
But even leave, Sainey's in trouble. He pedalled the car. Smith out in front. He's got there. Craig Russell. This is the upset Nationals. Flames erupt from Smith's car. The crew go crazy. But Roy Smith, the 57-year-old Queenslander, has won the Nationals.
Well, a great final race for Roy Smith. And as you said, Gerald, we have seen some upsets at this, the 2000 Nationals.
Let's go to the replay. We see both the drivers left together. There was the deciding move. Terry Sainey had to lift off the throttle, hit it back again, and Roy Smith just drove it through the top end. What would Mickey Atherwood, his partner, be thinking?
Well, a view from behind once again as Roy Smith, the thing pretty much stayed on flames all the way down, and Sainey had to pedal it.
That was the deciding factor in this top fuel race, down through the bottom end. Smith's engine has all of a sudden erupted into flames. Whether it actually blew up or not, we will find out. But what a tremendous victory here at Calder Park Raceway at the Bob Jane Team Art Nationals. Roy Smith, the 57-year-old from Queensland, and his partner Mickey Atherwood, the veterans of the sport, Nationals winners.
Yeah, we won one back in 76 in funny car at Surfers Paradise, and I never ever did one in top fuel, and, you know, I had some unfinished business there, and we've done it now.
Well, he certainly has, Roy Smith. That's it from the Bob Jane Team Art Nationals at Calder Park. On behalf of Craig Russell and myself, Gerald McDormand, thanks for your company. We look forward to seeing you next time. You can relive all the Nationals 2000 with the Nationals 2000 video. It's 1.5 hours of great Group 1 action from this year's event. Either pick up the next edition of Dragster Australia or call 03 9421 3322 to reserve your copy today for only $29.95. It's action-packed, so don't miss it.